What's up, YouTube? Now, I wanted to spend today to talk about a few things that's been on my mind that are best explained if I show you the articles themselves. So look in the description box for the links to the articles that I'm about to talk about. Now, the first one deals with E3. And of course, you know, the Electronic Entertainment Expo. Happens every year. It's a yearly thing. And if you have G4 will have this, you know, this thing that they do, this program. I'm not sure how long it lasts anymore because I don't watch G4 too much anymore. But the Electronic Entertainment Expo, and there are some people wondering how important it is anymore. I'll just put it to you like that. How much the gamer has to get out of E3 still to this day. The E3 coming up 2014 is in a few days, I believe. I think it's like June 10th, something like that. So here's what he says. It's been a sort of inevitable question among many fellow journals I've run into this month. What's the point of E3 these days? What does it actually accomplish anymore? Who's tuning in? And what is everyone trying to show them? Is it for diehard fans, the mythical unicorn-like mainstream audience? Some awkwardly clashing hybrid of the two? That's a good question, I think. On the other hand, if we de-emphasize the importance of E3 even more, this is like a paragraph down, it makes less and less sense for anyone to actually go there, let alone spend the amount of money some people do to attend and demo a couple games. Developers and publishers from outside the US especially have to go through tremendous trouble to coordinate their E3 song and dance, not to mention halt development on a lot of games and to produce demos and send development leads to E3's grimy, sweaty, desperate front lines. And then there's the matter of smaller development studios and indies, and many of whom have become the indie gaming industry's prime movers and shakers, yet can't really afford to spend precious time and money on E3. Plus, E3 is where the big dogs puff up their chests, bare their meticulously filed teeth, and trot out their armies of totally not booth babes. That's funny. Last year, indies did a slightly better job of standing out by getting creative with side conferences like Horizon and grassroots efforts like Indies Crash E3. But they still barely made a dent in the grand scheme of things. And then, you know, further down in the article it says business deals happen at E3. But they also happen elsewhere. How valuable is that particular space for those things? At least on that front, the numbers seem to speak for themselves. I reached out to E3 organizational body, and the E3 organizational body, the Entertainment Software Association, and they told me that according to the attendee survey data, $2.5 billion of buy orders were made due to what retailers saw last E3. Further, 91% of business attendees called E3 a must-attend event, and 98% said it was useful for their business. So if you're doing retail business, in parentheses, E3's original purpose, then it's still the place to be. Seems to be self-explanatory, I think. If developers, you know, big or small, still see a purpose of attending E3, then go. That means that E3 still serves a purpose. However, I have heard of things that a lot of smaller, you know, not developers, but smaller journalist outfits, I guess you can say, have had problems with E3 over the years because they've changed their rules a lot. And they've made it really hard for, you know, just independent bloggers, people who may own small media outlets, not really major media outlets, they've put these rules on the rule books that have made it very hard for those, smaller people to really get in. So it's kind of something where the quote unquote big dogs have shut out a lot of the independent people, a lot of the smaller people. So you really only see people there that can dish out like $1 million plus, or people who have like these really stiff media credentials, these really tight media credentials. So I don't know. I'm not an independent blogger. I just do this YouTube thing, so it doesn't really affect me too much. I can understand why some people who may be on a come up and they may have their thing that they're trying to do and they can't really do it now, so it doesn't really help them out. I don't know how any of the other gaming events are, Gamescom or any of the other ones. So maybe it's easier for some of the other events, and E3 is just the one where you see like the Sonys and the Microsofts and the major developers, EA and people who really have the finances to put on a show there. So I don't know. I've never been to E3. I would like to go one day, but we'll see. So the next article is about Watch Dogs, which just recently came out, which I love, by the way. I'm not doing a walkthrough of it, which involves my PlayStation 4, but it's a whole different topic. I may have to buy another PS4. This article is about AI, and the developer was asked a question about the AI in Watch Dogs and how crisp it is. And the developer says that individual AI is actually possible, but it's still really hard to do. And the AI in Watch Dogs it's not sort of the be all end all of AI. Let me just read it to you guys so you guys get a better understanding. As players interact with the world of Watch Dogs, they'll bump into or bump off some of the ordinary people that walk the streets of Chicago. Creative director Jonathan Moran spoke with Examiner a little about how the AI for these ordinary characters were developed. So he says, an individual in our game is first and foremost a combination of objects, polygons. We didn't model that person, which means we combined a certain shape, certain face, and we do that dynamically. On top of that, we built the name dynamically and the salary based on his look, plus a background story and all that stuff. Imagine if all of that then needs to be combined so that a specific combination remembers you. That starts to create a pretty big monster possibilities. Personally, if I had to do something like that, I would trick it. I would make systems where it would do exactly the same if wouldn't be fully coded. So basically, it's AI. They explain in the article that it's AI, but it's not really the computer. We're not yet at the point where the AI can make independent calls. Like if you look into something like what IBM is doing with Watson and Apple and things like that, there are people trying to create literal AI, but we're not there yet, and it's still an issue of creating an algorithm or creating a code so that the AI in the game recognizes certain things, recognizes a certain set of possibilities, and reacts based off that. So it's the computer isn't making its own decision. The computer isn't actually remembering, hey, I saw you 13 hours ago, in game time, not literally 13 hours ago, but game time 13 hours ago, and you did this, so I'm gonna do this to you. It's not that. It's still sort of if there's a call that you have to make in the game and you kill somebody or you let them live, there's something that's tagged to you to your profile, I guess. And when that AI comes across you again, I guess it reads your profile, or how do they have it set up, and it reacts and responds based on that. I'm not looking for literal AI in games because I'm not exactly sure if that would be a good thing. I think people should kind of slow their roll a little bit when it comes to artificial intelligence. But, you know, you can ponder on that however you feel about that. So tell me what you guys think in the comment section, and I'll be keeping the news going. I know I've been kind of MIA for the past month, but I've had a lot of things going on. But now it's the summer, so I'm gonna be doing a lot more videos, and I'm not sure which game I'll be doing next, but I'll keep you guys tuned. You know, keep you guys up to date about that. So just get at me.